Hi, I'm Carter, the creator of Whitlock, and I just wanted to take a few minutes to explain what exactly Whitlock is. In this video, we'll go into the world, characters, and themes, explaining some of the inspirations and discussing the process behind crafting New Chicago. Without further ado, let's get into it. First and foremost, the world of Whitlock was inspired by music. Most of my projects are. I'm a huge believer that music tells stories even when there are no words. Whenever I'm working on something, I build a playlist for it. Kind of an emotional blueprint. For Whitlock, that blueprint was electro swing. Now, electro swing is a fusion genre. It blends old-fashioned jazz and swing music with modern synths and electronic beats. And that fusion, that tension between the past and the future, the old and the new, is what sparked New Chicago in my mind. I wanted to create a world that felt caught between eras, a place where the moody elegance of the past collides with the artificial technology and shine of the future. And that's where the diesel punk aesthetic comes in. Now, diesel punk isn't the most widely known genre, so here's the short version. It's a branch of retrofuturism. Retrofuturism is essentially the past's vision of what the future might look like. Projects like the Jetsons or the BioShock series use that idea. The idea of imagining tomorrow through yesterday's lens. Diesel punk specifically blends 1930s to 1950s design with futuristic technology. For the 1940s atmosphere, I drew heavily from old crime serials. Pulpy, dramatic, morally gray, things like Dick Tracy, just old crime serials. And that's where the early energy of Whitlock comes from. The heightened stakes, the archetypal characters, the theatrical tension, it's all very pulpy early on, and that is heavily inspired by serials. But as the story progresses, the pulpiness kind of slows down and settles into something more noir, a little more moody, a little more introspective. And the world of Whitlock is meant to represent that evolution, the past imagining the future, and the future refusing to let the past die. When it comes to the characters of Whitlock, I pulled from a lot of different things. A mixture, classic archetypes like I mentioned earlier, personal experience, and again, music. One of my primary goals with the Whitlock gang specifically was to take familiar crime archetypes such as the brains, the heart, the kid, the rogue, the leader, and push them deeper than pulpy stories usually allow. In old serials and old crime novels, dime store novels, those archetypes are designed to be shallow. They're meant to be efficient, clear, iconic. You immediately know who this person is based on their archetype. But the downside of that is that they don't pause long enough to explore the psychology behind those archetypes and really get to understand. So with those old characters, they become iconic. They become memorable characters like the Lone Ranger, Green Hornet, Dick Tracy. Those characters are archetypes, and they are efficient, and they are clear. You know exactly who they are, but you don't know who they are deep down inside, because they never were explored on that deeper level. So I ask myself, when making Whitlock, what happens when you take those classic shapes, those classic archetypes from the past, and filter them through modern, character-focused storytelling? And again, that sort of ties into the past being brought into the future. Speaking on specific influences for specific characters, Lennox is probably the most personal example. Lennox is loosely based on my younger brother Brooks, but his eagerness to help people, his appetite, his marksmanship, his clumsiness, all of those traits are inherited from my brother, and there's just something very genuine about my brother, and I wanted to capture that honesty in a character, and that's kind of where that character stemmed from. Stetson, on the other hand, was heavily inspired by Danny Kaye, who is a popular actor from the 40s and 50s. You might know him from White Christmas. That's probably where most people who would even think about him would know him from. But Stetson particularly was inspired by his role in The Court Jester. In that movie, Danny Kaye plays a character who's constantly flipping between this bumbling, theatrical, awkward character and this charming, confident rogue character. And it's kind of exaggerated, it's a little bit absurd, but there's a real charisma beneath both roles, not just the rogue character. And Stetson carries a lot of those traits, but he also carries that duality between being the charming rogue and this kind of bumbling, theatrical goofball. He can be ridiculous, he can be charming, but there's this sort of... You can tell that there's something else going on beneath all of that. All of the bumbling, all of the charm, there's something else under all of it. As for the May twins, Una and Mac, their names, weapons, and a bit of their history even were inspired by music that I listen to frequently from the 30s, 40s, 50s, that sort of old jazz era that Whitlock sits in. Una May draws inspiration mainly from Oh, I'm Evil, a song by Una May Carlyle, which is, as you can imagine, her namesake. And if you listen to that song, you'll also see a few of the inspirations there. Mac is inspired by Bobby Darin's Mac the Knife, which is significantly less subtle than Una's song. You can imagine where his namesake comes from on that front. But yeah, like I had said, music is just a massive inspiration for the characters and the world. But I liked the idea of characters who feel like they stepped out of that world, and part of that is feeling like they stepped out of those old songs, real songs from those eras, but have been warped into something that's darker and deeper. At its core, Whitlock is not about crime. It's a crime story, but it's not about crime. It's about inheritance, mainly. And the central tension in the story is, like I've been saying this entire time, past versus future. New Chicago was built specifically to erase the past, to erase what came before it, to create a clean slate and a better world. And to sell the idea that progress solves the past, every issue from the past. But the past does not disappear just because you put a curtain over it, you pave over it, you hide it. And part of that is inheritance. You can't escape your past fully. The Whitlock siblings, for example, inherit their name, their legacy, their reputation, their traits from their father, from their past. They didn't ask for that. They didn't ask for that past, but it shapes parts of who they are in the present and parts of what they're going to do in the future, what decisions they're going to make. And that theme is deeply personal to me. All of us inherit something. Expectations, family dynamics, cultural narratives, beliefs about who we're supposed to be. The question isn't whether you inherit something. Everybody inherits something. The question is whether you choose to carry it and what you do about it once you've inherited it. You don't get to choose what life gives you. You don't get to choose what you start out with, but you get to choose what you do with it, where you go with it, what stays, what you get rid of. Some characters in this story cling to loyalty. Others believe survival matters more than connection. Some believe that nothing matters, that life is a game, a transaction, a tool. And other people believe that others matter deeply more than anything else. And even if loving people is dangerous, you need to love them anyway. Ultimately, Whitlock asks one question. When the world is changing faster than you can keep up, and the past is running after you, trying to define who you are. Who do you become? Who do you choose to become?